And I love it, man, because it got me thinking. It got me thinking like I was back in school again. I don't even know where you come up with these questions. I want to know how you come up with these kids. You're so innovative. I'm like, look. I mean, your mind is good. Like you say, you're a history teacher, and your mind is going all over the place.
And it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other today.
Yeah, I've done everything. I've done, in the 80s, I did Johnny Carson. I did,
Sure.
Merv Griffin. I did it all. You're sheer 9 or 10. You're probably 9.5.
Oh.
10 is, no one's perfect.
You have something amazing going with the show, and you're educating us.
I mean, I never told anybody in public about that experience with my dad. And on your platform, I don't know why I did that, because it's so comfortable and we're talking about things that matter.
I love the little anecdote of comedy with your would you pay for it? Would you not? I love that. I love how you added that in.
We want to know each other. We want to know people's stories. That's what TKN does.
What an honor it is to be in the presence of the other two wonderful gentlemen. And you, Avi, I have a great deal of respect for your resume as well.
It's not like an interview. It's like a conversation with your homie.
Appreciate that more than you know, my friend. I really do. Stretch, my friend, I hope you have a great rest of the evening.
I always gain knowledge from other people and I think Avi does a great job on these where the authenticity and everyone's able to conversate and not just be so interview like you said earlier. I think that's the best part of it too.
Last name Ferrigno, first name Lou. Lou, welcome, my friend.
Thank you. That's the best introduction I've ever heard in my life. You know something? You need to quit the show and be my moderator.
So put your hand together for a majestic, out of this world, one of a kind human being. First name Vivica, last name Fox. Welcome, my friend.
Whoa, that was an awesome introduction. Let me tell you that. I don't think I've ever had anyone read my resume with such flow.
Avi is a poet, but he doesn't know it, but his feet show it. You're unbelievable.
You gave me good eargasm tonight, man. I love your voice. I love the things that you talk about.
Yo, this show is crazy. This show takes you crazy places.
I appreciate that.
If you see something, you gotta say something. Otherwise,
that's what we're doing now.
You're part of the problem.
I'm saying something though, so maybe that's part of the solution.
I like him. He's fucking quick.
Well, you're the best I've seen. You're the Michael Jordan or LeBron James, whoever you want to make the GOAT.
This is why your audiences love you. This is why you continue to great guests, and great guests beget great guests.
Finish up this last bar and welcome a talented, kind, humble, intelligent human being. First name Frejo, last name Star. Welcome, my friend, to the celebrity tournament.
Oh my God. Yo, that had to be 64. Nah, that was like 85 bars. Like how many bars is that? Is it like, I was trying to count the bars. I lost count.
One of my friends was share about Tip O'Neill, the Speaker of the House, and what a smooth voice he had. Your voice and the way you project everything and share with your heart and soul. You got an incredible gift.
I just want to do this again and again. I feel like I've made friends. And again, I've taken the competition part of it out because I've just enjoyed talking to you guys tonight.
Oh man, most definitely. This is, I think my top. I mean, the intro you gave me, I gotta give to you. I like.
You deserve it.
It really, truly, kind of blows my mind every time when we can get this many people together, thinking, mind melding, positive, not having to agree all the time with everything. But not getting ugly about it, and not, it's just I feel like it's a microcosm of what it could be.
Did you have a nice time tonight in the green room?
I had a great time. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
You're a very interesting person. I mean,
you
with all this rhyming stuff, you must really put a lot of effort into this, and I would love to read or see something that you've written.
Thank you.
Because I'm sure it's really interesting.
Or not podcast. I guess it's like we're just a show now. You're a show. You're a full-blown show.
I can count my friends on one hand. Well, wait, on one finger. You.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, my friend. You are awesome. Chris, did you have a good time? You've done a lot of interviews. Is this kind of up there for you?
Yeah. I had a great time today, Avi. I mean, because you are engaged in what is a conversation and not a performance.
Don't even hang your hats on the past, because if you don't heal from what hurts you, you'll bleed on people that never even cut you to begin with. It has nothing to do with your pain.
Okay.
So,
Tell him, Robbie. Tell him.
you guys are bringing the best out of me. That is the truth.
Yeah.
Guys. All about family, and
wow.
I can tell you, my friend, your presence is a present, because even though we don't know each other very well, starting to get to know you has been a real present and a gift, because of the truth and honesty that you share. It makes me a braver person. It makes me a more courageous person, and that's from my heart.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. And hey, if there's anything I can do for you going forward, I'm here. You just call me.
This thing has drawn me out of myself, and thereby drawn me into myself. But I learned a lot, and from you, I always learn something from you.
Continue to work as hard as you can, because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi.
Archie Bunker, the mountain climber, Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
It's clearly an issue with the hard drive.
Oh, I like that.
I'm going to go Don Corleone.
Avi likes to move it. He likes to move it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There is nothing that was on TV tonight that even remotely rivals what we did on this broadcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Barry, a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and one of the NBA's top 50 players. And I'm really excited to tell you about my new relationship in the broadcasting world with the new network.
Oh, it's TKN, and a young man named Avi Klein who poured his blood, sweat, and tears into creating this new network and assembling an amazing group of individuals.
Legends from every walk of life who are just bringing their knowledge and their experience and their wisdom, and this is amazing. I feel like this is a cosmic convergence of what is most important to him, and he's such a stand-up guy.
Avi, congratulations. I don't know anybody that can talk as much as you. Seriously, I thought I could talk. You are unreal. But you do it with class, understanding, professionalism. You're simply amazing. I told you that when I first met you. And you ran off my autobiography. It basically was a book. It was simply fantastic. And to think that you do that every show.
Very respectful. And he really connects with the artists and his audiences. And I felt like this guy's onto something, and I'm proud to be a part of this with him.
And I really thank your support. I lost my father, and you were the first person to support me in all that, and I thank you so much for that. It meant a lot to me.
The greatest wealth is when you can share it with someone. You can share your victories, you can share your failure, you can express your deepest feelings, but the greatest wealth is to be able to say that I have a friend. And I feel an unbelievable level of wealth, and a lot of that is because I have somebody like you.
You here to win the whole darn tournament?
I don't play. I just win.
Robert, would you like to win this entire tournament?
You know, all those luminaries and athletes and strongmen notwithstanding, the most dangerous place on this show is between me and that prize. That's all I'm going to say.
You're chomping at the bit to get in this thing.
Oh, yeah, man. I've been telling you, brother.
you brought up some names to me, and I was like, I can't wait. I hope they don't see me because it's gonna be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, baby. And I'm not playing.
Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Abby. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Are you here to win the entire celebrity tournament when it's all said and done?
You know, I saw the video package, and I saw a very familiar face in Mike Rotundo, better known as IRS, and he said that he was here for the winner, winner chicken dinner, and I want to take away that chicken dinner, so yes, I want to win this whole shebang.
Because what they say, Efkaristo, Karakalo, we're going to Greece, baby.
I love it.
Tonight, Avi Klein launches the TKN network. It's been over 2.5 years in the making. And tonight, with mystery guests and the big debate, it's going to be, well, let's just say hotter than hell. So don't miss it.
And talent. Last name Smith. First name Joe. Joe Smith. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my God, Avi. Where did you get all of that from? Oh my God.
All right. Wow. Have we got a hot crowd tonight, Giselle? What do you think?
I definitely think so. I'm very excited for this evening because I'm in a rather celebratory mood. What about you, Kelly?
It's a party. You know, you're familiar with Mardi Gras. I think it kind of has almost that, you know, let's get a little wild and crazy kind of feel to it.
Well, it's also festival season, and we've definitely got a festival here in the comments section. Hello, Justin. Welcome to TKN Saturday night. Great to see you. Radeja, welcome in. Hello, T. How are you? Happy to have you here.
There's Lee Feathers. I see him. I seen Rocky Sesteric out here. Angel Lee, the Mouth of the South, Double L Lester Cook Jr., along with his dad, Lester Cook. Got our judges from Tournament of the Judges in the house. It's a packed house. It really is. And I don't blame them. I mean, you've been here longer than I have, you know, but I don't remember officially the TKN vault door, those numbers dialed in, that big handle turn, and that door opened before. Am I right or wrong in that?
I don't remember that either, but we have someone here who's very excited to see you, Kelly.
That is Mr. Brad Litchfield. And yes, he's very familiar with myself and Cage. I can't say enough good things about him, and I'm very glad he is here. Very glad he's here.
Well, welcome, Brad. We are glad that you are here. We are glad that you are all here this evening to see what is going to happen. Hello, Angel Lee. Welcome again for the second straight week. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you very much. Chad is in the house as always. Also, check out Chad's post on Facebook because they're, what would you say, second best read of the week after Avi's preview and review posts?
I would say, I mean, he doesn't leave any stones unturned. If you really want to know what's going on and how it got there, definitely check out Chad Dixon's posts. Sometimes the guy's a writer. I mean, sometimes there's more than one or two a day even. So he's there clackety clack. He's like that newsroom guy. Ching, ching. He's just going at it. We love to see that. There's Standing for Jesus. Stevie, I'm here to tell you, right. All right. I like the way he did that. He almost caught me up with that.
Stevie raised it round 3.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Radhacia Guzman. Hello. Oh, thank you. I recently wore this for an event, and it was suggested I do it for tonight because tonight is an event. And as always, it's a free preview event. We're not asking for your money. We're just asking for a little time and let you guys do the thinking about it.
Missed a while, missed a lot. Back for the second week. Woot woot. Yes, Angel is here again for the second week in a row. We love all of our viewers, new and old, and that is why we are doing this kind of a show this evening, so we can see how it all began, what points you came in, maybe what you've missed. But what we didn't miss was the fantastic conversation we had last week with Avi Klein, with two-time Grammy Award nominated hip hop legend Redman. Who else was there? Kelly White.
We also had Brian Austin Green of 90210 fame and Nicole Eggert, a very prolific actress across all genres of film and TV. And man, it was another one of those conversations where, as I watched the show, nobody's like, hey, I remember you from this or this or this. But you would have swore these were three people that had major history together, just sitting down and having a very pleasant conversation about stuff that mattered, though. And that's where Avi comes in. Avi's the one that, sometimes you don't even remember it as a topic. I guess it was a topic of discussion, but he comes up with these. And this, to me, is where the magic lies, because he just doesn't he doesn't write them up and draw them out of a hat. These are curated to the panel that he has put together. And you change one person out of that, and that changes what he's going to do for the topic. And I think that's where it kind of creates some of that magic, that these people, even though they just met, they act like old friends in their living room, just having a chat about philosophical stuff, philosophically fun stuff. Don't you think, Giselle?
I definitely think so. And Kelly, you seem to have an old friend here in Lester Cook, because
yeah, he says about 3 years ago, Kelly invited me to tune in, and I am so glad I did. And Lester, I'm so glad you did too, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate little Lester too.
Yeah,
he's gonna kill me for calling him little Lester. He's my size. So.
Lester's been having some fantastic videos up on his Facebook page as well. And we have DM Man here, otherwise known as David, one of our Tournament of the Judges participants. And David believes this, and I think he is spot on. The topics are as vital as the guests. Kelly, what do you make of that statement?
I got to agree with David, because the topics, that's the catalyst that gets the people talking, gets them thinking, gets them connecting. And those tendrils of connection, I don't know if you ever noticed this, if you're sitting in the digital seats, they actually reach out to you through your device, and they draw you in. You may have heard Mark Metcalf says it, it drew me out of myself, but drew me back into myself. And that's what these topics do. They draw you in.
They do.
And, not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry is going to come up with the topics that Avi conceives. The man is a master of that. He's a master of conversation. It's hard to say enough good things about Mr. Avi Klein. He's probably in the back blushing somewhere. I just say something how he is. But really, this is just something you don't find anywhere else.
No, and Ed's ready for it. He's ready for some old school TKN as well as some new TKN.
Well, I don't think he's picked a night that is going to get any more old school for a long, long time than tonight, when that vault door comes open and we see what Avi has pulled out. I mean, we have had, we're talking about what, is it 167 or 69 now?
167 Hall of Famers.
167 Hall of Famers, Oscar, all those award nominees, winners, etc., that have come through here. But there's been people that haven't been in the tournament.
They haven't yet. Also, Willie Wilson agrees with you, Kelly, that the topics open the door. So there seems to be a consensus here. So thank you, David, for putting that comment in earlier. Look what it's led to. Hello, Kenny. Hello, Julio, Phil. Great to see everybody here. Miranda, kicking it old school. Rocky, fantastic. Yep, 160 Hall of Famers and Olympians and major award winners and nominees in round 2 alone. Hello, Cookie Echoes. Great to see you here tonight.
Cookie, lend me your comb. Actually, I don't need it, Cookie, but thank you. Thank you.
That's not even counting your favorite TKN hosts. And that's not even counting all of the other fantastic luminaries who are outstanding in their fields.
Yep.
And maybe haven't been inducted into that Hall of Fame yet. And Allison, I agree. We have a unique place here in the internet space. Absolutely, we do. Kelly,
that is so true.
What makes us that unique place here in the internet space?
I think it's the values that, Avi started this thing with, and he made sure the people that he drew in, such as yourself, myself, Joe Rosart, embodied those same principles, where the conversation is much more valued than any kind of controversy that would come out of it. Ultimate respect for the people, and the fact that one of the hardest things, especially in today's rage-baiting society, is these people, us people, can sit down here and have a discussion where they have opposing viewpoints, but it's done respectfully. And still, even though they might be strangers who disagree, it's very often they actually do leave as friends from here.
They do. Is there a pairing, a trio, any kind of combination of people that's been the most surprising to have come in as strangers and left as friends?
Oh, wow. There's been so many combinations. Trying to think. And I know you're partial to this one too. But it was with Tommy Davidson, Diane
Franklin and Layla
Diane Franklin,
Robbins.
Princess from Bill and Ted. I'm a huge fan of those movies. And Layla Robbins, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That again, they didn't really know each other, but that was like the first match. And Avi has moved things around as necessary. He didn't start out with the ultimate answer. He was always working towards it. But I think right there, that particular match is where it gelled. Those people together had so much fun. Those of us watching forgot this is a contest. We're just here enjoying the conversation, riffing back and forth. Hey guys, let's go. We're going, Orlando. We're going, bro. So I think that's what kind of, I think that's a demarcation right there between when it was more of a contest, even though, we still have the respect, but that's where the strangers leave as friends, I think really, really started in earnest.
Sure. We've had some really fun combinations. And yes, Angel Lee, absolutely. Positivity all the way around. And as Kelly said, that does not mean that we aren't going to disagree with each other, that we're going to have different opinions. But that does mean that we're able to talk it out and not devolve into giant screaming, slamming door fits. Which is very cool.
Oh, what's that Ed saying? Ed is saying, I will always remember the day Avi reached out to me years ago to be a small part of the show. Well, that's awesome, Ed. Yeah, maybe that's going to come out of the vault tonight. You never know. I know Giselle has some stuff in the vault. I've probably got some stuff hiding back in there that, maybe they'll pop it out and I go, ooh, I didn't remember
that. There is a ton since Avi started this in 2020 as a way to keep everybody working, keep everybody together, bring people together during lockdown, have something for people to do. And it's gone through different iterations and different facets. But I believe at its core, we have always remained true to that conversation. And this is exactly why Lee is here with the TKN family has always brightened my spirits. When I'm down, I come on here and perk right up. God bless you all here at the TKN family. I love you all so much. Thank you, Lee. We love having you here as well. Your comments are always very intelligent, very thoughtful, spot on. Love hearing what you have to say and seeing what you have to say. And thank you so much for that, because that is one of the best compliments we could ever have.
It really is. It really is. And, so much comes from you guys. And I think part of that is, excuse me, why Avi wanted to give you guys a voice in this tournament, and why we're always, reminding you, not that you need reminded, but we'd like to say it. Your voice counts, your votes count. Always remember that one.
Yes. Yes. That is why when you see the celebrities on Saturday night, which, as stated before, Redman and Nicole Eggert and Brian Austin Green will be back next week to finish their conversation and their match. That's why we have 1,572 currently watching. That's why we have your votes matter on Wednesday nights as well on the Black Box and the Tournament of the Judges, which more information about that later will be coming up, but make sure you stay tuned in for those, because the winner of that will gain that last spot in the celebrity tournament, the big one happening on Saturday nights. And if you're not one of those 1,500 watching right now, tell your friends that they'll get to see this, but tomorrow, because we're going to go dark after this episode concludes this very evening. Welcome, Samuel. Great to have you here.
Good to see you, Sam. Good to see you.
But this episode will go dark as soon as we end, but it will be re-uploaded tomorrow night. That is Sunday, April 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern. It will be back on our YouTube channel for you to re-enjoy.
There you go. There you go. So I wonder if Avi's ready to open that vault door yet.
I think we are. I absolutely think we are, Kelly.
I don't know what's going to come out. Jamie Kennedy, Jeff Tate from Queensryche, Martin Kove,
Michael Berryman, David Bostwick. I know. Robert Picardo. Are we ready, Kelly?
I'm ready. I need to see this. I've been chomping at the bit. We've got no heads up, folks. We don't know any more than you do at this point. So we're going to be as surprised as you when the video rolls.
The ultimate sign of anticipation. Let's hear that drum roll, Kelly.
He grew up in the Sweetown section of Minneapolis alongside his brother, Jan. They spent some time as youths fishing for carp years before his legendary tan. He became captain of his Roosevelt High swim team during his senior year in 1969. Family dinner conversations may have sparked his interest in politics. Sounds just like Casa Klein. The word wanderlust applies, especially when applying the number 4. 4 years of active duty in the Navy. 4 years as mayor. 4 years as governor. 4, if you're keeping score. The man excelled as a commentator, pro wrestler, and storyteller on the big screen. His I Ain't Got Time to Bleed is the crowning jewel of iconic lines. A truly remarkable scene. I should know, I'm a screenwriter. Awesome line, and he delivered it. The man ran for mayor and won all 21 precincts during serving from 1991 to 1995. Beating around the bush? Blanket statements? Nuh-uh. He tells it like it is. Don't give him no jive. He ran for governor for the state of Minnesota and won in November of 1998. He was fiscally conservative and socially moderate to liberal. He gave it to us straight. He emphasized substance over style and made it about policies first and foremost. He was also incredibly insightful, inspirational, and knowledgeable as a former TV host. This all sounds very formal, but you can enjoy this conversation in your slacks, or heck, get all dressy. I welcome to the green room a man who is class personified. Last name Ventura, first name Jesse.
I'll tell you this, Avi, you definitely do your homework.
Oh,
I got to tip my hat to you on that one, because your bios are just outstanding, and you don't give us much to hide from.
I appreciate that. I really do. First and foremost, before we begin,
Sure.
just how's your week going? How's everything going during this wacky time we're in right now?
Well, I don't know what to make. I look at my country today, and I have a hard time recognizing it.
I was slapped on the wrist when I first started writing for Lionsgate as a screenwriter. I was still teaching U.S. history, 8th grade history, And I was slapped on the wrist when I just brought up the Buffalo Soldiers. I brought up freedom writers like Diane Nash, who was a great speaker. I was slapped on the wrist because I can't talk about anything that isn't in the curriculum. And I told my principal, well, why isn't it in the curriculum? Why aren't we teaching our youth to think for themselves?
Well, and the thing, I'll tell you,
both of your parents were World War II veterans. There's more to meets the eye in life. And a good example of that is something that you learned after your father passed. He didn't drive a car when you grew up, and years later you found out why. It was because your father was involved in a unit, the tank destroyers, and you had to dry over masses of dead bodies. That's one example of why we as people should always think twice and perhaps respect the untold stories that we're not privy to before passing judgment on people. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. In my father's case, it was, I grew up at the time of Leave It to Beaver. And yet in my family, my dad never drove. My mom did all the driving. My dad got up every morning in Minnesota and walked 2 miles to work every day and 2 miles home. And as a child growing up, that was peculiar to me. And somehow in conversation with my mom at my dad's passing, I happened to mention the driving thing and what I'd been told. And my mom, I guess, felt at that point that maybe the truth should come out. And so she said, well, that's what your dad told you? And I said, yeah. He said he didn't trust himself. That's why he never drove. And my mom said, no. She said that wasn't the real reason.
Wow.
And I said, really? Well, what was the real reason? And then she explained to me what we would term today post-traumatic stress, of the fact he was with the I think they were the 1099th Tank Destroyer Division or something under Patton. And one of his jobs was driving the tank destroyer, which I guess was some vehicle that could get around fast and nail the German tanks. That's what I'm assuming. Teachers had a big influence on my life.
Yes.
Which they should have. Excuse me, the train's going by.
That's okay.
I know I live like Dan Aykroyd and the Blues Brothers, the train goes by and all that. but remember that scene?
I love that scene.
Where they finally get him out of prison and they take him to the home. And
really quickly, very similar to that scene.
We got to get back on track.
I got to tell you, my cousin Vinny scene was pretty cool too.
Oh yeah,
my cousin, where the only place he can sleep in is a place that has noise because he's from Brooklyn. But
I hadn't seen a blonde or any such thing, and I'm saying that, although I do like brunettes better.
That's like taking me to a Laker game because I'm a Knicks fan. I mean, I finally can see basketball.
There you go. but anyway, you still want to go. You still, regardless. And so I'm looking at all these round-eyed girls. I hadn't seen one in 6 months. So I didn't bother to learn the lines, so naturally they didn't pick me. But you know what did happen?
What's that?
Bob Hope's wife was there, and she was backstage. She came up to me.
Sure.
Believe it or not, and I'm 19, 20 years old, U.S. Navy frogman, overseas, knuckle dragger.
Sure.
And she said to me, she goes, "You have the most unique voice I think I've ever heard."
Wow.
Gave me freedom.
There's something interesting about living a life according to the highest ideals that our parents had for us. I think by doing that, we honor our parents. I think that many people are grateful that their parents passed away because maybe they felt resolved. There was no unfinished business between a parent and child. It's been 30 years since your parents passed away. Would you agree in your case that now they get smarter every day?
Oh, I can't tell you how brilliant my parents become every day that goes by. I mean, everything my dad told me comes true. And he only had an 8th grade education. He acted. You know what shocked people? I told people that never once when I did wrestling did I know an ending. I went out of my way not to know.
Yeah.
I did not want to know nothing. I wanted to
organic
watch
reaction,
it in
right?
the ring and respond to what I saw.
Organically.
Yes. I did not want to be so and so this whatever angle or whatever thing they were trying to accomplish. I purposely stayed out of locker rooms so I would not be privy to nothing.
Sure.
And I thought it worked better that way, and it did.
It was organic, and it's just, I think a lot of the times when you think back about those days, you were the voice that carried the company into the, I guess if you look at the evolution of pro wrestling in the 80s, there were two people you can think of. You can think of the Hulk Hogan's, of course, in the WWF, and then you can think of Jesse Ventura, who was the voice of Hogan and the whole cast of characters. You know, when I first started working for Lionsgate, there was a man that I looked up to, a very cantankerous but very straightforward guy, which is just the way I like it. I was born to a military family as well. And he was a guy named, and I don't know if you guys and gals have heard me tell this story before, but if you have, you're going to hear it again. I'll give you a hint, guys. Lethal Weapon, Superman, Richard Donner. Richard Donner was a very, very straightforward guy. He directed Gilligan's Island, was a fan of Gilligan's Island. I walked in. I heard that he was going to be there the next day. I knew he was a fan of Gilligan himself, the character. I walk in with a Gilligan hat, and there's awkward silence. He's looking at me, deadpan. Completely straight-faced. I'm looking at him as well. Deadpan. I'm shivering in my boots. I don't want to give it away. He looks at me again. He says, "What the hell are you wearing on your head?" And I'm stumbling and fumbling and bumbling all over the place. And I said, I heard you're a Gilligan fan. And he looks at me and he says, "You're not effing Gilligan. Take that effing hat off your head right now." Somehow, a friendship blossomed after that moment. He said, have you ever watched pro wrestling? I said, I did it for a while, but I don't consider myself a pro wrestler because I did it. I was a weekend warrior. He said, well, there was a guy named Jesse Ventura. Have you heard of him? I go, of course. He says, Jesse Ventura was the only person to be able to cross over as well as anyone ever has in wrestling before the Rocks, before all the guys that tried to, like Hogan, before Piper. He said, do you know why? I said, I don't know why. And I didn't know if you guys even knew one another, but he said, because Jesse Ventura treated everything that he watched as if it was real and it was going on in front of him. He didn't insult the intelligence of the fan. He didn't insult the intelligence of the wrestler. And Donner was a huge wrestling fan. He said, I was captivated by the action because Jesse made it so real to me. I just wanted you to hear that.
That's a hell. I'm humbled by that because I only know Richard Donner, to my knowledge, by name.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, he's a symbol of tremendous action films.
Yes.
The way, in my opinion, action films should be done.
You're right, class. Now you spent over 1 year training, boot camp, A school, BUDS, Army Airborne Jump School, SEER School, SBI living with your platoon, 7 weeks in the desert, running ops. Something that might shock some people would be the fact that it was traumatic, though, returning to the U.S. after being overseas 9 months because you couldn't vote. Yep. You couldn't grab a beer due to your age, which I think is nonsense.
I was a child.
Yeah. Every young man and woman serving in their country in the military should be provided with every adult privilege, I think, across the board. After all, if you're being treated like a child in one respect, you're being treated like the ultimate adult by being sent to war. Wouldn't you agree?
Avi, absolutely. How can we not say sending children to war is child abuse?
Exactly.
I think the only abuse worse to a child would be sexually abusing them. Maybe.
They can't have a beer. They can't sit down and have an alcoholic adult beverage.
And here's the sad part. That was 50 years ago, and it's still the same.
Still the same.
Because I love to quote Jermaine O'Neal, the old center for the Pacers.
Sure.
Okay, remember when they came out with the rule, we're not going to see another Kevin Garnett, we're not going to see another Kobe, we're not going to see another LeBron.
That's right.
Because nobody can now go from high school to the NBA.
Yes.
They now have to have 1 year doing something else.
Yep.
Before they can go to the NBA. And I'll never forget Jermaine O'Neal coming out all puzzled, going, wait a minute, you mean you can go die in Iraq, but you can't play basketball?
Puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Cuban Missile Crisis, right? We know that Fidel Castro, of course, if there wasn't for the soccer fields, we wouldn't have known anything going on at all.
The late Fidel, he was my friend. I met him. I flew to Cuba when I was governor. And
not many people could say that they actually went to Cuba.
I had 1 hour with him.
That's incredible.
And guess what? We kept corresponding afterwards, and nobody knew it.
That's incredible. And Jesse, there was that trickle down.
And you know what I got to ask Fidel?
The cigars? Did you get the cigars?
Ooh, he had quit by then, but he gave me some anyway. But no, when I was sitting with him,
Yeah.
I wore a watch then. I used to wear my old SEAL Team Rolex, right?
Sure.
And I was sitting with him, and he caught me. I looked at my watch, and he looked at me, and he said, "I'm sorry, am I keeping you from something?" And I had to think quick.
Wow.
So I thought, well, tell the truth. So I looked at him and said, "No, sir, you're not keeping me from anything." But I said, "You've only given me 1 hour." I said, "I was checking my watch and I see that I have only 20 minutes left."
Wow.
And
wow.
I said, I checked my watch because I have only 20 minutes left, and I would like the last 20 minutes. I'd like to know if I could ask you personal questions. I said, I would like to ask you what your opinion is of the murder of John F. Kennedy in 1963. Wow. I couldn't shut him up for 20 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
The first thing he said to me was, "It was an inside job."
Precarious situations, Jesse will vote on which he would pay for and why. They're all silly. Jesse, if you had to pay for one of the following, which would it be and why? Hannibal Lecter is a regular cast member of Beverly Hills 90210, Big Bird the Bounty Hunter, or Conan the Librarian?
I think I'd go with Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. As a cast member of 90210.
Little dramatic pause the soap opera actors do. I like that. Option number two.
Thinking of how Anthony Hopkins would fit into that. That's why I chose it.
Absolutely.
That would require a great deal of.
Yes. Guys, did you have was this one of your, did you like this interview? You've done a lot.
Yeah,
I know that.
no, Avi, you're great. Like I said, the good thing about you, unbelievably good about you do your frickin' homework.
Thank you, my friend.
No, I mean, you come.
Means a lot.
You're extremely prepared, much more prepared than most interviewers that I get, because you know stuff that I wouldn't expect you to know, and sometimes I'm a little disappointed that you do know.
Wow. Just wow. And I say that I have seen a few clips of this, but this is probably the most complete compilation of that actual conversation that I've ever actually seen. I did note too, this was 2022. We're talking, we're pushing 4 years ago. And Jesse did say interview, and Avi actually agreed back. He wouldn't agree to that now. He wouldn't agree to it now. Things have changed. Things have changed. But, the thing is, it shows you right there, back from 2022, just why Jesse Ventura is consistently in the #1 position in this entire tournament.
Absolutely. And if that doesn't prove it, Willie Wilson's comment here definitely proves it. Jesse and Avi, that was a good one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. An amazing conversation, says Dave. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Look, we're seeing them come in. And everybody is saying, thank you, Allison. Everybody is saying how great of a conversation that love was. And look where it went. Even Kenny's saying awesome conversation there. We talked about his family history, his military history, his meeting with Fidel Castro, education. It went everywhere. And yes, Miranda, he has been #1 this whole time for a reason. And Phil, I agree, Jesse will be hard to take down. But does that mean impossible? Especially based on what we just saw. Kelly, what do you think?
Well, I'm a big fan of saying nothing is actually impossible. And, if folks are paying attention at home and they look at our name tags, there's one thing you and I both have in common right now, and that is we're both third rounders. But guess who isn't yet? Mr. Jesse Ventura. He still has to get through his second round match to join us and the other 100+ people currently sitting in round 3 waiting to go. And he has some stiff competition. He's not sitting back there with people you've never heard of. He's sitting back there with sharp-witted comedian John Lovitz. Sally, Jesse, Raphael.
Oof.
I think Eric Dickers is.
Else is back there. Well, T here says, "Wow, that was awesome. I was so interested in that conversation." Let us know in the comments what part of that conversation really grabbed you. Was there a story you hadn't heard before that we haven't aired before? Is there something that reminded you of something else? Let us know in the comments. What did you think of Avi and Jesse Ventura's first conversation on what is now known as TKN? Actually, it had the new network banner back there, if you saw.
It had the old style banner back there, but it was there. Yeah, you know, and the nice thing about what Avi brought out of the vault, yeah, you could tell it was edited, not a big deal, but that made it so easy to digest. You know, it was like your trapper keeper from back in the day. Every subject was, you know, nice and separated for you to take a look at. So very easy to do there. I want to tell you, Giselle, what really, really grabbed me. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have seen me watching the outro and they get to number one and everybody sees Jesse. And no, I've not looked happy. I've not looked happy. Reason is, it's just some variety, but, you know, after watching this, the thing that grabbed me that says, dang, he belongs in that slot was right towards the very end. It was the game. It was the game. He made his pick out of that game that's been around quite some time. Big Bird the Bounty Hunter. Hannibal Lecter on 90210. He jumped on it like that. But then in just a couple of sentences, he gave a very in-depth explanation as to why.
He did.
A mind that works that fast and with that much depth is a scary thing to come up against in any kind of tournament.
No, that's very true. And I think we have some definite accordance here with some of these comments. Kooky here. It was the first time I'd seen it, the conversation with Jesse and Avi. I thought what I had seen, well, I thought what I had seen was great. Had a nice flow to the conversation. Absolutely, it does. And Avi plus Jesse, awesome as always. That is 100% for sure. Kelly, what is the likelihood that Jesse Ventura is going to make it to round number 3, which is upon us?
It is. I mean, obviously the popular vote almost makes it a walk for him. The competition certainly doesn't, because Avi knows what he's doing. TKN has saved the best for last. So when Jesse is up there in his match, it's not going to be a walk. It shouldn't be. You know, anything can happen. It would be utterly mind-blowing if he doesn't. But after watching that, I don't care who he's up against. I think he's going to make it to round 3. He's going to make it. I have a lot of belief in that.
I would agree with that. Before we get any further into round 3, Chad, thank you so much. Great conversation between Kelly and Giselle, Chad is saying. Chad, we appreciate that. We appreciate your post. We appreciate your messages. Thank you so much for that. The first part, when he was told why his dad didn't drive to work, PTSD was explained. Yeah, Bethany, that's a really good point. A lot of people, there are actually several people who don't drive because of what they've seen or experienced in war. And so that's a really great point to bring up, because a lot of people don't think that that could be part of it. Wrong Lives, Julio here. Another person we'll see on Wednesday night in the Tournament of the Judges. It's awesome to see how from the beginning to now, Avi's conversation still brings smiles to everyone he speaks with, and rightly so. Thank you, Julio.
And you know, that's the thing. And I mean, I think it was Bethany said it a little, you know, the conversation, or maybe it's Kooky, you know, had such a flow. Mm-hmm. Even back then, like I said, we're pushing 4 years. And as amazing as Avi was, you know, in that interview and keeping that flowing, I think he's actually improved over time. He does that with visible effort, with 2, 3, occasionally 4 people from such varied backgrounds, and he makes it seem so seamless. So, yeah, just some amazing stuff right there. Can you imagine sitting down with Fidel Castro for an hour and conversing as you please? Just as you please. And of course, Jesse would be the one to ask him, what did you think of the Kennedy assassination in '63? I think there's one other person, if he had the chance to sit with Fidel and do that he would. Who do you think I'm thinking of?
I think you're thinking of one Mr. Klein.
I wasn't. I think that is a good. I was thinking of Stevie Ray, who is in round 3.
He is. And Phil here is also agreeing. The conversation was so organic, just like every conversation we have. Welcome, Sal. Great to have you here tonight as well. You can catch Sal and Sebastian in the Tournament of the Champions on Wednesday evenings, along with Julio and David. So tune in every Wednesday for them. And just remember that this episode will go dark after we end for the evening, but it will be re-uploaded for everyone who missed it and for yourselves to rewatch tomorrow night at 9 p.m. That is April 19th, Sunday, 2026, 9 p.m. Eastern. It will be back on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Because this is one I'm sure it's going to be very, very rewatchable for quite some time, until maybe we open the vault again. Who knows when that's going to be? So I hope you're making the most of it tonight.
I think so. Kelly, if we're making the most of this vault tonight, I think we're ready to find out what conversation is coming out of there next. So
let's see.
Shall we?
Sure.
He's a selfless human being that begins to tell the tale because there's a lot more. He shines a light on matters of the utmost importance. His first film role starred Elliot Gould back in '71. Many of his characters would make any protagonist run. You better call De Niro or Robert Shapiro. Forget them. Even they couldn't save you from Nero, the hero. Of course, that's a reference to Death Race 2000. Who? I'm not talking about Pete Townsend. In White Buffalo, he played Jack McCall. He didn't just light up the big screen. Let's not forget the small. He appeared in Gunsmoke Kojak and The Edge of the Night. When his name was on the marquee, everything just seemed right. As Erickson, he took the fight to John Rambo in Rambo 2. I was rooting for Martin, who also had quite the do, and he still does. He still does. As an aside, let's be honest, he still does. As Victor Isbecki on Cagney and Lacey celebrated, by the way, that show celebrated strong women, beautiful women, nothing racy. Be careful when entering his dojo if your objective is to remain in one piece. I, for one, would never cross John Kreese. Yes, I'm talking about his iconic role in The Karate Kid. If you missed all 3, then you were living under a rock or asking why. Not to worry, you can still catch Kreese on Cobra Kai. You're yearning for some fun, don't worry, hang loose. We'll talk about how it all started in a play called The Golden Goose. The man is a natural-born leader, and he isn't even a Spartan. Let's welcome a legend to the green room. Last name Kove, first name Martin.
Wow, that's pretty good. Little Murders all the way to Cobra Kai.
Golden Goose, too.
The Golden Goose was the 4th grade. That's when I decided to be an actor.
Before I worked for a period of time in the studio system as a screenwriter, I had a theater and stand-up comedy background, believe it or not. And one of the schools that I performed in was in Bayside, Queens. I performed in the old Queensboro Performing Arts Center. After you, yeah, and All in Bayside. After you were involved in the Golden Goose in PS 161, without being too, I guess I don't want to say that you were too articulate at that young age and being able to express exactly why you wanted to call acting as a career of sorts. But did you get the bug all the way back then?
Yeah, you know that bug when you can make a lot of people laugh? I think that was the extent of the bug. When you just get up there, we were doing this play in fourth grade, and I think I was discussing this the other day. You don't think about you're going to make a career of this and all that. You just think how good that feeling is when people laugh at you.
Sure.
You know? And you're entertaining on stage. You're in the fourth grade, and it feels a lot better than doing math. You know? And it just rang true. And then, year after year, you're doing more plays and all that. And then when I went to college, Queensborough Community College is where I went the first year. And they didn't have much of a drama department when I went. So I would go around to different universities.
And it's great that you were still able to persevere, because not even being part of the student body didn't deter you at all for still trying to try out. Standing in for Sean Connery in '71 proved to be advantageous for you, because he suggested that if you can do Antigone, you could do anything. Were you leaning towards joining a classical stage company anyhow? And did Mr. Connery's advice more or less just kind of give you a bit of a nudge and push you in that direction anyway?
He was, terrific. And Sidney Lumet was directing. Sidney Lumet would give me the time. But Sean Connery, and it was just a glorified extra role in the first year I was doing things in New York. And yeah, I was accepted to a classical stage company, the CSC Repertory Company, and they would do things like, they would do, Romeo and Juliet, and they would do King Lear, Revenger's Tragedy by Cyril Turner, and all these great classics. And I was accepted to NYU School of the Arts, and I didn't know what to do. And he said to me, young man, if you can do Antigone, you can do anything.
A man that I admired for his honesty and insight was a man by the name of Sumner Redstone. He was the founder of Viacom. I loved talking to him when I first started out as a screenwriter. He's a man that really was always very honest with me. He and several shareholders that loved their executive producing credits had mentioned to me that getting cast back then was as simple as hitting your marks, reading well during auditions. There weren't as many moving parts as it pertains to the audition process as there is today, as it was more personable back then. Do you feel as if yesterday's way of doing things was much more advantageous to the actor?
Well, you had more personal connection, I think, in those days, and you were able to meet directors. You were able to meet producers. And I remember meeting Bob Fosse. I mean, you couldn't get better than meeting, whether I got the part or not.
Sure.
This guy just interviewed you and cared about you and wanted to know about you. I think it was for all that jazz, I think. I wasn't a dancer, but the bottom line is that you had personal contact with directors and all of that. And now you don't have it. Now you have to send it a video, And of course you get more takes on a video.
But it's harder to leave an impression personally when you're, as you mentioned, just essentially churning out take after take after take, as opposed to actually being there in studio, looking at the casting director's eyes, meeting a lot of people that you're auditioning for. It was much more personable, therefore it resonated more to the people that were actually the decision makers, essentially, right?
Well, it did, and I believe that. I mean, there were so many times the first year I was here, I did 8 TV shows and 3 movies. And I was no brilliant actor. I mean, in those days, your instrument, you didn't trust your instrument as much as one does now. And, it was just different. And in those days, I still had Steve McQueen in my eyes. I still wanted to be Steve McQueen. I didn't want to be Martin Kove. I wanted to be Steve McQueen. And the bottom line is everybody wanted to be Steve McQueen, But the thing was, Steve McQueen does his thing and Marty Kove does his thing. I remember John Avildsen saying in Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3, I didn't hire you to direct you. I hired you because you know what you're doing.
Wow. And that's why, what a compliment that is. That's a great compliment.
That's why I brought Ralph and Pat and you, because you know what you're doing. You did it at your...
A man that I admired for his honesty and insight was a man by the name of Sumner Redstone. He was the founder of Viacom. I loved talking to him when I first started out as a screenwriter. He's a man that really was always very honest with me. He and several shareholders that loved their executive producing
it was just different. And
Sure.
in those days, I still had still interesting for me, but I'd much rather have a sword. Karate is not as romantic for me. For others, it could, but for me, some of these women in the movies today are just brilliant. I mean, when we look at Quentin's movies and all the moves that they did, and then you look at some of the, what was that wonderful picture?
Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Martin, would I have been able to read your mind as it pertains to bringing up Hidden Dragon if I wasn't a fellow New Yorker as yourself, a five-borough guy? So.
Yeah, no, you're good, especially Sunnyside with the bacon shop. Let me tell you, I lived in Bayside. I grew up there,
All right, Forest Hills, Queens.
So you were chic. I was piece. If the writing wasn't so great on Cobra Kai, if they didn't delve into the soft, vulnerable stuff that you see in the flashbacks, it would just be another White Hats, Black Hats show. But they go into the gray. Everybody's gray. That's why 67-year-old couples from Brooklyn who stopped me in Ybor City in Florida, they stopped me and said, "We love the show." Same day, a 6-year-old kid would come up with his parents.
Isn't that crazy?
I love the show.
Just different demographics that are coming out in droves, understanding that everything is being humanized. Those characters are being humanized across the board. Anytime you watch a particular scene, there's a vulnerable and relatable aspect. And I think a lot of people are picking up on that. I almost look at Karate Kid. The backdrop, of course, is karate. But in essence, it's a story about a young man who doesn't have a father and finds a father figure in Mr. Miyagi. And maybe everything else essentially is the backdrop. Would you agree to that, Martin? Is there something to that?
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think that Miyagi was a father figure, just like Johnny Lawrence's father figure was me in those movies.
This is a picture from Rambo #2 as well. A great character, really interesting character.
Yeah, I wanted to do more with it. I got fired once from George Cosmatos because Sly and I were trying to get a scene in that wasn't in George's script. So
right.
I slipped it in there and Sly, and then I was fired on the set. And then 2 hours later, I was rehired because Sly called up because it was Sly's idea. And you're so articulate, you do your homework, so it's great.
Leaving you with one last question, Martin. If you can select just one word that you would hope your loved ones remember you by forever, what word would that be and why?
Ethically creative. Remember me, it's 2 words, but it's ethically creative. And I believe being ethical is the key to this existence in this modern time.
So true.
Moral and ethics have lost their place in our society. You're sheer 9 or 10. You're probably 9.5.
Oh.
10 is no one's perfect. But honest to God, you're terrific. You do your homework, and
I appreciate
I've done
that.
everybody. I've done everything. I've done in the '80s. I did Johnny Carson. I did Merv Griffin. I did it all. And you're very energetic and good, and you ask the right questions. And I have 7. Just remember one thing: sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg.
Now that's another classic right there. I don't know how else you would categorize that particular conversation right there. And Martin Kove is not somebody we've seen in this tournament.
Not yet. Could he be a potential mystery?
The door is about to close.
It is, Kelly. It is. But round 3 is upon us, and you've been waiting for something. You've been waiting for round 3, but I think there's some unfinished business. My name Buffster, Buff, Bagwell. Sit down, I'm hearing about, maybe. Kelly. You. Buff Bagwell, who's still in round number 2 because he tied. He's not eliminated yet.
He's not. But he's hanging by a thread. And no, I mean, it's one of those things. It's, you know, the guy, if you saw round one or lead up to it, all the shenanigans, the tech issues that seem to occur, and then the match itself, there just wasn't resolution. There was not resolution. And, you know, my first plan was, you know, made a little, had a little parlay with Avi Klein. We talked about some things. And me getting Buff Bagwell across the table from me again in round 2 was something I was floating around. But then, as we say with TKN, anything can happen. I ended up in round 3 a little early. And I don't know who out there knows this. I've got quite a few tricks up the old sleeve for any upcoming match. And yeah, I got to admit, mentally, I kind of let Marcus, Alexander, Buff, the stuff, Bagwell fade to the background a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. His round 2 match came up. Guess who was the judge? It was me. But no bias. I called it like I saw it at the time. He ended up in a tie for second place. That means the first place guy moved on. And I got to admit, I was so focused on how he was playing out, I don't remember who the first place guy was right now. You know, somebody needs to jog my memory on that. But I remember him, Brian McKinney, BMAC. They ended up tied. And they've been floating around in limbo ever since. Neither here, definitely not in round 3. Mm-hmm. But then I hear it through the grapevine that sit down's going to happen with myself and Buff Bagwell.
How are you feeling about that? Oh, actually, we have a question here from Julio regarding that too. If Buff makes it to round 3, do you think you could be the one to beat him?
Julio. Yes. That bag of tricks up my sleeve, it's legit. I would rather, if I get to sit down with Marcus, I would rather not use any of that, because that's the point of contention.
Well,
and if this comes out of the vault tonight, I will clap, because our round 1 match ended up a near technical fiasco. This was no person's fault. This was pure technology malfunctioning at its most heinous level. And a near landslide of votes for me in the topic were not seen to be counted. And a 4th topic was brought up, and I came out short in the 4th topic.
In a time we had 2.
I'm sorry?
In a time when we had how many topics?
Was it just 2?
I think we were doing 3.
I think we were doing 3.
So you had a tiebreaker topic.
A tiebreaker, yeah, 4 topic. And yeah, I didn't do so well. Back then, the topics were a little different. It was basically one topic. One person was assigned one side. One person was assigned the other. I think I got the short end of the stick. It's just luck of the draw. But yeah, you know, Marcus is charismatic. He outperformed me on that 4th topic. And at the end of the night, I was told, hey, sorry, you didn't make it.
Ooh.
You're not in the turn. You're out of this tournament after round 1. I was visibly upset. Let that be known. But then Avi Klein, who, as Martin Kove said at the end, is ethically creative, was ethical. Yes. This is where this goes back to. There was no creativity to it. He rewatched that video when it became unfroze and saw that basically I had whipped Buff the Stuff Bagwell pillar to post in topic 3, and that was supposed to be the end of it. But he'd already put Buff Bagwell through.
He had. Rev here says that Kelly is allergic to losing.
Rev, you are not wrong. It gives me a rash when I lose. I do not like it at all.
Did that happen when David beat you?
Yes, it did. And David, we will meet again in some form, in some fashion, somewhere down the road. You're not going to do the, hey, I beat you and run off. I will find you at some point. It will happen. But back to Buff. He was put through. Avi was not going to take that away from him. He's not going to reverse that decision, but he did the right thing and put me through as well. And this is, I almost want to say this is what gets me about Buff, but it doesn't get me. It just annoys me. We did have a little bit of a conversation, and, you know, this was brought up to him, and his whole point is, well, you know, that was the way it was called. You should just go away.
Ooh. Oh, go away.
Yeah, I should just go away because my votes, due to a technicality, weren't counted. But you see, that's how Marcus did his whole wrestling career. You know, feet on the ropes and, you know, pulling the tights and whatever, and letting the other guy get beat and let it count that way. That's just Bagwell for you. So Marcus is creative, ethical, not back then.
Oof.
I see an Avatar popping in.
I also see an Avatar popping in. Hello, Avi. Welcome.
I had to be able to do this on air before we go off air. Guys, we're going to go off air in just about half an hour or so. As you can see, we're giving you a condensed version of these conversations from the vault. But when it comes to Kelly White and Buff Bagwell, we know there's no love lost. We're talking about 4 calendar years if you're thinking about it. Kelly White reminds me of the guy or the person who wins on a Monday, wins on a Wednesday, and he wins on a Friday. And that happens for a very long time. It reminds me of elementary school or high school or college. We walk into a classroom. We see the same students that surround us with familiarity. They give us a sense of familiarity. They surround us with that feeling of familiarity. And after a period of time, conversations that we have with them might get stale. The conversations with the same people sometimes plateau. So that person who went through the education system finds themselves in the real world with different challenges and an employer and bills that stack yay high. And eventually, they meet those challenges head on. But what brought the best out of them was the worst. And what brought the best out of Kelly White, for all of you who said that you've beaten Kelly, I don't think you brought the worst out of Kelly. Because he does have the best record of any TKN host still. And in case you want to face Kelly White and get the best out of him, just take a page out of Buff Bagwell's book and get him pissed off. And then you'll see Kelly White at his best. Although it's pretty darn scary to think that we've seen him already, victory after victory, knowing fully well that only Bagwell, thus far, has been able to not only wake a sleeping giant, but he's also been able to rattle a cage that's inside Kelly White. A monster that's been hidden for a very long time. I think it's been hidden for too long of a time. If you know that monster that it exists in that cage, you'll know by looking at Kelly White right now as I give him a solo layout. All he has to do is lean into the camera slowly and willingly right now as we speak, as I speak, for you to take a look in his eyes and realize whether you're a suit and tie whether you're an engine member, just understand that as great as Kelly looks right now, I love the blazer. I like the new cut. I dig the beard. This man isn't domesticated when it comes to competition. There's nothing domesticated about him. So for everybody that thinks they can take Kelly White on, poke the bear, shake the cage, and see what you get. And I promise you that when you do, competitive camaraderie will have a whole new meaning. Those are my thoughts. Giselle?
Yes.
You're a third rounder as well. And that's why I think it's important that I took this time to remind everybody, luminary or not, of what's waiting in round number 3. A Kelly J. White, who has been around many people in his life, but is now meeting new people. A Giselle, guys and gals and pals, who's hosted a bevy of different shows. But once their competitor hat is put on, I guarantee you that all the favorites, all the people in our outros that we're seeing as our favorites, one at a time and one by one, I believe that they will fall. Because the TKN hosts, guys and gals and pals, are not only here to stay, and not only can they play, but I think at the end of the day, I will say the winner of the TKN Celebrity Tournament, fill in the blank, put in your favorite TKN host. If I were a betting man, which I'm not, I think those words will find their way into our future someday. That is my belief. Let's read some of your comments, guys. College Sniper agrees. As tough as round 2, round 3 is going to be a lot tougher. Kelly looks more allergic to losing. He will intimidate you with his eyes. Yes. And I don't know if what you saw was all there in terms of Kelly J. White, guys. There's a different part of this man that you don't want to meet. Don't make the beast upset. Lester, you know Kelly White. There's that rage in cage. Hello, Kooky Echoes. Nice to see you here live as well. Love your comments. Kelly has something fierce in his eyes. Real. Horrible. Eyes is the window to the soul. Love these comments. Love these comments. Rev, definitely earned your Hall of Fame stat, guys and gals. You're looking at a Hall of Famer here twice over. Kelly J. White. I didn't get a chance to bring this up early when Brad was with us, Mr. Litchfield, but you are a class act as well, sir, if you're listening. We appreciate everything that you do. And Bethany agrees. Always poking the bear. Guys, there's going to be a conversation between Kelly J. White and Buff Bagwell. There's going to be that. Buff's got some unfinished business, trying to punch his ticket into round number 3, as we know. And maybe, just maybe, a Martin Kove will pop in and punch his ticket in this tournament as a mystery participant, because this is the final lap. Maybe, just maybe, guys and gals, Jesse Ventura will punch his ticket into round 3. He's a second rounder still to come. But what about the next person that we open up right now and introduce? The person that comes out of this TKN vault might be a competitor we've already seen, might be somebody waiting in the wings. Who knows who it might be? So without further ado, Giselle and Kelly, you guys do this oh so well with the great rhythm that we've seen before via drum roll. Take it away. He was born in Upper Darby Township, a suburb of Philadelphia, PA. As the youngest of 6 children, the Bambino, he'd explore and truly find his way. Around 5th grade, he knew that he could tell jokes, rile them up, and poke fun. Everyone was a fan, with the exception of that gal that yanked on his ear. I'm talking about a nun. He arrived in Hollywood at age 19 and paid his dues, even staying at the Y for $4 a night. Open casting, extra calls, a hardcore acting class, soaking it all in. His future was bright. Guest spots on Ellen, Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio, 1996. He's quite the interview, whether it's on Conan, Jimmy Fallon, or even High Times. Relax, everyone. You know who he is. In a moment, I'll be done with my rhymes. As a studio-based screenwriter and teacher of this craft, I can tell you, his presence is consistently evident. My ex was a fan, but she doesn't matter. You hear that, Amy? Let's welcome a humble, kind, talented, and down-to-earth artist. Last name Kennedy, first name Jamie.
Dude. John. I hope you're getting paid a lot. 'Cause that's the greatest intro I think I've ever had.
Nah, man.
That was really unbelievable.
Means a lot. Thank you, man. How you feeling, man?
Unbelievable. I was like, I did all that.
Yeah, you deserve every bit of it, man. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that you're the most professional with your background, and you've had all these different legends on, and none of us know how to light the damn thing.
Oh, please. Your background looks great. You got that. Is that Bart?
That's Bart, baby.
But when you went to Catholic school, you really only had one of two options presented unto you: conform or rebel, become that which makes you, or resist. And around the 5th grade, you realized you had a gift of making those around you laugh, even though one Sister Loyola yanked your ear and scared the living crap out of you. Is that right?
That is true. She grabbed my ear and she went, "We're gonna have a very good year, Mr. Kennedy." Yeah. And I was like, ah.
Right.
I said, ear. She said, yeah. There's me. Look at sweet kid. I was a sweet little baby.
1 year old, man. How the hell could she grab your ear, man? I don't condone that at all. That's
Well, we live in a different time now where,
True.
you know, teachers used to be able to put you in headlocks, and I never had it too bad. I got pinched, poked. It didn't bother me that bad, but like my brother got rulered. My sister got rulered, but I mean now that would be like 10 to 20 years in a joint, but
at least,
which I think we've gone a little too soft. Maybe they were a little too hard, but you know, that's what they did.
100%. Imagine neutering Festi. Festi was obviously one of the greatest clowns in Shakespearean lore, and if you neuter one of the clowns, we can't vicariously live through them. We need relief as human beings, and right now the Mavericks, the Renegades, the comics are being stifled. They're not allowed to actually take us away from our daily funk. And you're right. There's something wrong with that. There's something inherently wrong with that. I agree with
I think we are. No, I think you know, good comic will make you laugh and make you think. And I think that right now that's where we're going with comedy is the last voice. But they are trying to say, oh, this is hate speech, or this is this, or this is that. And it's like, no, man. This is we're examining everything. We're looking under every rock. And you know, but
you read the book called The New Breed, where Robert Downey Jr., John Cusack, James Spader, they talked about going to New York, sleeping on the floors, doing that whole thing. And your mom wasn't okay with that. So as a 19-year-old, you saved $1,200, had no place to stay, crashed at the Y, took a gig at a fitness club and a Red Lobster, and then you tried to figure it out. Trial by error, right?
Definitely. I mean, that's pretty crazy that you're taking me through that I do remember this little by little. But yeah, there was no internet, and there was no, like, if you wanted to really, like, research, you had to go to the library and get something called a microfiche, and you look under it, and there's articles. But for the most part, there's books. And so I had that book at James Spader and Robert Downey Jr. and different people that I really looked up to, and William Dafoe, and I knew that New York was too close to my house. There was a train right away, and people could influence me. And I knew that LA, it was like, well, if you're gonna struggle, if you're homeless, you could be in the sun, and you could like live in a car. And I'd read enough about that, and I'm like, and you can get on TV. It's just more TVs being filmed out there, or movies, so I could easily just figure out how to get a background work. And I said, I'll give myself a year.
Now, moving forward in your career, Scream. Tons of auditioning for the role. You went in for 3 times, screen test galore. But since your resume was growing, Wes Craven truly saw something in you and pushed for you, which he'd done in the past for guys like Johnny Depp and Robert Englund, Rose McGowan. He broke a lot of people in. Would you say that he was helpful around this time in your career?
The most helpful. I had like a 1-2, actually a 1-2-3 punch, if you could. Actually a 1-2-3-4 punch, because people ask about like, oh, what's your overnight and success and your break? You don't have one break; it's a series of breaks.
Sure.
And so there's a casting director who I love to this day by the name of Tammy Billick.
Right.
Who cast me in something. Brought me in for a legend by the name of Ron Levitt. Ron created Married with Children, and he had a new show in the WB called Unhappily Ever After. I got in that, and then I started getting reoccurring. And then from that casting director introduced me to Ellen, and then she liked me, and I got a break, and then I did some recurring on Ellen.
Yeah.
And then from there, the casting director saw me, and then I got to meet with Romeo and Juliet and auditioned. And then Baz was one of the first in the film business to really give me a break, where I had a meeting with him after a couple of auditions, and we played. He didn't make me feel like I was auditioning. He made me feel like I was having a fun meeting. And at the end, I felt very good. I felt like, I was like, do you think I can get this? He said, I think he can. And he was just so loving, and then the next, with Wes, casting director Lisa Beach, who, really helped me so much.
Oh, yeah.
And then I met with Wes, and I didn't know. And then I came back again when I was filming Romeo and Juliet and screen tested again. And Wes, who loved me, Marianne loved me, Kathy Conrad, they all give me these breaks. But that was one thing, and I was starting to get on. But the thing that was behind the scenes, I had no idea what was going on. Like, basically, everybody had credits. Rose she was an indie darling with coming up, but I would say her and I had the least amount of credits. And the studio was like, we really, really want a guy that has more acting credits than this guy. And Wes is like, this guy is the role. He is the role. I'm telling you.
I want to bring that up in a moment, but would you agree, by telling the thespians out there, the up-and-coming artists, make a bold choice. Walk into that casting room, leave it all behind you, make a choice, obviously not something that, like you said earlier, would land you in the psych ward, but make a bold choice, leave an impression of some sort. Don't overthink. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's a tough road. I don't know what people are doing now, but like when you have no money and you're living and you're literally preparing for something in a parking lot where you slept in your car, and it's like boom. But like at this point, I had started to work and I had my own little apartment, but it wasn't a 1-bedroom, and I was on TV, and I had a studio apartment. I didn't have a 1-bedroom, and I was, really wanted a job because I could make like, $4,000, which was enough for like 5 months rent, and it's like, so you're in the game, right?
Yeah,
you just get a couple of those.
As good as it gets, James Brooks, great director. And what I like about him is he gives a lot of actors, if he has the ability to do so on set, 5, 6, 7 different ways, different takes to understand. And then he'll find the take that will work for him in post-production. Do you enjoy working with directors that not only give you the opportunity to try things differently, but can also be direct and let you know what works for them and what doesn't work for them?
I absolutely love it. There's not enough. There's not enough guys like James L. Brooks. Exactly what you just said, that we forget what a director should be. What you just said is perfect. Directors should be
the Jamie Kennedy experiment, doing your humor, creating something that belongs to you, taking ownership of your God-given abilities. Nothing against Punk'd. Just kind of targeted celebrities. Sacha Baron Cohen focused on people with lower IQs, but the Jamie Kennedy experiment
That's so funny you said that. I love Sacha, but let's be real. He wasn't pranking anybody in New York.
No, he was not. He was not. I'm just saying, man. I gotta give you props, man. You set up the jokes, you performed, you put people in situations in which they were decision makers. That's the way that you soared, right, Jamie?
Yeah, to me, the Jamie Kennedy experiment was exactly, you really hit the nail on the head. It was I was funny in movies, but I was funny with other people's writing, which, I happen to have a lot of good of it. But like my own instincts, sometimes if you like stuff in movies that work, you might have seen some improvisations, and other times it might have been cut out. But I was like, I know I can even be crazier than what's on this page. So long story boring, I just started the TV, and after a long, crazy process, I developed that show. And the show was basically a way for me to be SNL in the sense that, but it was going to be more. I was mad that I didn't get on SNL. So I said, I'm going to play a real character in a real scenario with real people, and I'm going to make them believe it. And if I do, I'm going to prove to this world and this town that I'm an actor.
Does it bother you knowing that some guys named Greg are walking around in life with 2 G's at the end of the first name? Like, why the extra 2 G's?
That is weird. I don't think about it enough, but you're right. That is weird.
Another trio of options for you. Which would you pay for and why? Rocky Balboa is a neurosurgeon, Seinfeld the correctional officer, or Rambo the talk show host?
Rambo the talk show host.
Amazing. And the last one we're out of here. Which would you pay for and why? Archie Bunker the mountain climber, Ralph Cramden the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone the computer repair person?
I think you're gonna have to do Don Corleone, right?
Yeah.
You know you're gonna get that offer.
You're just a joy. You've done a lot of these, man. Would you put this up there a little bit or give it a good grade?
You know what? To be honest, bro, I didn't know what to expect. You came very highly recommended, and you've had some amazing people on that are like, they are icons of pop culture and history in different areas of the world. So I'm very impressed. But I can tell how much you love doing what you do, and you really, just the amount, even if you hate my guts, the amount of stuff that you talk to me about that I don't even remember about myself is so impressive that I was like, I have to do this. This guy has done so much research. It's not fair to you. So I'm highly impressed. So I would give this a very high A.
Wow, another one almost 4 years back.
To borrow a phrase from one Mr. Klein, Kelly White, do you concur that Avi gets a very high A?
I'm going to have to concur with Jamie on the very high A. Absolutely.
You guys get a high A. You guys get an A+ tonight. I would say this in chat, and I would say this live. And I like to say things live that I could say in chat. There you go. Guys, I want your feedback in the comment section. And, we don't blow smoke. We want your honest thoughts. I think I know what they're going to be. I think you're going to concur with me. But if you don't, I'm okay because, hey, we've had debates here before, haven't we? Little Birdie told me we've had a few debates, a couple debates. I think we've had. I give Kelly and Giselle A+ because I've appreciated the way they've been able to not only listen, but offer their viewpoints. And as you see here before you, when Kelly and Giselle are on screen having a conversation about these matches, they will never neglect you. They will never forget you. They will never dismiss any of your comments whatsoever. And they do it in a way that's welcoming. They have conversations. We don't have interviews. I call this the A-team for a reason. I'll say it. I don't care whoever's listening. This is the A-team. You know why? Because they're professional. They're organized. They're punctual. They're responsible. They lead with maturity. And they have a lot of humility. Yes, they're great intellects, but they're also very modest and they're very humble. I love seeing the two of you in action. So those are my thoughts. A+ for me.
Well, thank you. Definitely appreciate that. Wowza. Man, that was another great one-on-one conversation. Conversations with Klein. I mean, that's that needs to be a thing right there. But
round 3, maybe. Combos with Klein. Thank you, Lester. Yes, Giselle and Kelly are doing an amazing job tonight, indeed. Thank you, Lester.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Can't do it without you and all your comments either. Truly, this is the A-team. Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much there.
He's just saying that because I look like B.A. Baracus with the haircut.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
Man, well, thank you.
We got more love coming in. Kelly definitely loved Kelly and Giselle from Rev. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Rev. Very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it.
Kelly and Giselle are awesomely incredible.
Awesomely incredible.
Exclamation marks from Chad.
Go ahead, guys. Tell the suits and ties who are watching and not commenting. Tell them what you think of Kelly and Giselle.
We should get that on like business cards. Hello, we're awesomely incredible. Nice to meet you.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Hand those out. The Jamie Kennedy thing, though, I actually did see that the first time it came out, but this just brought memories flooding back, and this was when I was very new here, and if you didn't know it, folks, I had no official storytelling experience, business experience, as far as this line of work goes prior to coming here.
You are here now, part of the A-team, as Johnny McKinney is pointing out. This is the A team. So thank you, Johnny. We're getting applause from T here. Thank you, T. Amazing hosts. So, Bethany, we love you, Giselle and Kelly. Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's good to see Johnny McKinney out there.
Great to see Johnny out there. And I want to make this announcement if I can. We are going to have follow-ups to what you just saw tonight. We have one more to go, guys. One more. Hang around. 1 hour and 35 minutes. We got one more conversation to go. We're going to have follow-ups where you're going to see more from the vault, including one future episode between round and 2 that's dedicated to all of the appearances and amazing comments from you, the Engine Show. We're going to have one episode. It'll be a one-off, the Engine Show, where all of us will be there watching you. And you've had a lot of spot appearances. You've had some amazing comments of the day, comments of the week that we're going to showcase. Can't wait for that. I do want to say this again. Next Saturday night, I think it's important that we place emphasis on the conclusion of the incredible conversation that Brian Austin Green, Redman, and, of course, Nicole Eggert had. Their first topic. Now, guys, what do you think about opening up next Saturday's show with the aforementioned by playing a fun game? How about that? To kick things off. Nothing serious, nothing philosophical to open up the evening. A good old-fashioned game. Then we get into the final philosophical topic.
There you go. I like it. I mean, starting off with a game, how can you go wrong with that?
You can't. Leonard McRoberts, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, my buddy Leonard. Good to see you, Bobby.
Yeah. Guys, you
Appreciate
were watching.
You, man. Appreciate you.
In my opinion, what greatness is all about when you're seeing Kelly and Giselle host. And again, to all our suits and ties watching, who a couple have been texting me too much of it tonight. This is not some freak thing. When Kelly and Giselle are here hosting, guys and gals and pals, you're in store for what I call edutainment personified. They will provide that in spades. We know that. The Jamie Kennedy, I have one question for you guys. Jump in the water, Kelly and Giselle. When it came to Jamie Kennedy's respect for all things cinema, I think that to me was a bit underlying. Yeah, we know that there's the humor. We know about the resume, but he has such an affinity for cinema. Did that come across?
Yes, most definitely it did. And I think without these conversations, I don't think that's something that people would generally, because you don't get to know the person specifically by the performance. So it's these kinds of conversations that lets us in the engine and anybody that wants to partake actually see the magic behind this stuff. And yeah, Jamie's respect for everything like that did come through. He was talking about, your big break and all this. And, he was true up. He said, there is no big break. There's little breaks. One break leads to another. And, that's the real key to it. It's kind of like TKN. Slow and steady wins the race.
I think the skeleton key to success is patience and perseverance, and you're right. I want to ask Giselle and Kelly a question. They could both jump in on this. How would you? And it's tough to evaluate this on one conversation, but how do you think Jamie would fare in the celebrity tournament? Because he hasn't been an official participant yet.
Ooh. I think he would surprise us. I think there's an expectation based on what we've seen in his conversation that there's always a little bit of this underlying fun.
Yeah.
Kind of an unseriousness, but that's not to say he doesn't take the conversation seriously.
Oh, he definitely does. Absolutely.
Because he was very invested in it. For sure. And
much like Kelly is, because I agree with Justin, don't let Kelly fool you. He's quite a good filter. If he's trying to fool me that he's not, he ain't doing a good job, because we know he is. No,
thanks,
thank you, Justin. But I agree with you, Giselle. Behind the pomp and the circumstance, the humor. Jamie's a very deep person. He's thoughtful. He's also very thoughtful. Yeah. And did you notice the beats, guys? He thinks before he responds.
He does.
Which I think will serve him well, because that will also lend to his listening to his opponents on screen, his fellow competitors who he's having a conversation with here, and picking up on those points. So he's got a few possibly underrated, very subtle qualities that could have him go far in this tournament.
And, Chad might be right. It might be a little late Easter gift here. Is that an Easter egg? It could be Chad. Chad always spots things. He's won before. He's predicted before. He's always predicted a lot of our mystery celebrities. Guys, final lap time. I have to stress this again. you're going to be seeing some of the second rounders you've been waiting for and some that you never expected in the coming weeks. We are about to finish this thing. We're going to have a grand finale, season 2 finale that's going to feature some of the TKN hosts in action, as well as our final TKN Celebrity Tournament match, round number 2. And, of course, Pete and Giselle have their showdown. The winner picks their third-round opponent. Kelly's going to have a sit-down with Buff Bagwell. Justin and Miranda do their final dance, of course, as we know. Joe's going to find out who his opponent is, and the finale of the tournament of the judges all in 1 week. Incredible stuff there. Guys, I do want to say this. I want everyone to hear. Outro is coming up right after this video. You'll see some of our TKN hosts who want to sign in. It'll be outro time. They can sign in now. But I wanted to be here on screen for this one because what better way to close out this particular episode by opening up the vault and sharing with you a conversation I had with someone who still means the world to me. Game and born into this world was a gifted, kind, humble human being who made us laugh. When he was on TV, we perked up like a giraffe. He gave us everything, not merely half. He always took care of the riff-raff. Everyone dropped their dimes as they told their friends to tune into good times. He always took care, guys and gals. It didn't matter if you were struggling or wearing suits. We all watched Roots. Who could forget my date in 1989 with Erica? We went to see Coming to America. He's a fellow North Jersey native. The man is quite creative. I taught U.S. history, but it's no mystery that this man is an inspiration, not simply famous. I welcome to the program, Mr. John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you.
God bless you, my friend. God bless you. You will always live up to that. And by the way, a fellow North Jersey native.
Absolutely. New Jersey is the best training in the world for you get a PhD in reality.
A PhD in reality. I totally agree with that, my friend. You know, we had Brown versus Board. It was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. The youth of this country need to understand the indignities at that time. Would you say you went through some topsy-turvy times, really essentially being a part of the inaugural desegregation classes of school in New Jersey at the time?
At that time, there was a train track that ran right through this section of New Jersey that I lived in, Essex County. It was a Lackawanna line. And just as the old cliche songs and stories used to talk about, the dividing line being you live on the wrong side of the tracks, I was on the right side of the tracks by 50 yards. In other words, I was one of 4 students to ultimately integrate the New Jersey school system in East Orange, New Jersey. This wasn't the Deep South. This was East Orange, New Jersey. And consequently, I had the opportunity to get a first-class education at the elementary level at Stockton School, as opposed to Easton School, which was on the wrong side of the tracks and which had a high percentage of failure. So the bottom line is fate stepped in at an early age and the railroad track saved me.
Did you find teachers that encouraged your thespian instincts and pushed you to explore your creativity?
Going back to the very beginning in East Orange High School, we had an arts teacher, Mr. Wolverton. And Mr. Wolverton casually mentioned to me one day in study hall that, hey, John, why don't you come out and read for this part and play one of my convicts? We're doing The Man Who Came to Dinner. And I said, sure, why not? What have I got to lose? Not even thinking about acting as a career, but I was a class cut up and I was always going for attention and that. So the bottom line is they put me and the biggest guy in the school in striped uniforms as convicts, and I did my first play, which was The Man Who Came to Dinner. As a convict, I think I had one line, I'm not sure. But the biggest critique I got came from one of my buddies on the football team. He looked at me in amazement when we got finished. He said, Amos, I didn't know you could do that. Man, you sounded like you were right out on the street. And I said, I thought to myself, yeah, that's good. That's the ultimate. I sounded real. I didn't sound like I was acting. That's an accurate photo. That's Mr. Wolverton
playing one of the convicts. He's on the far left. Richard Acker, the biggest guy in the high school, he was about 6'4", 6'5", and as big as he needed to be. And then finally myself on the far right. So there we are, and my very first stage performance, and I said, I love doing this. This is great.
But then after college, you became a Golden Gloves champion. Around this time, you went up against a guy named Johnny Bullocks, a Mormon from Utah. Did your perception of Mormons and aspirations as a boxer essentially both end right there and then?
Did it change? Yeah, long about the third time he thumped me in the noggin. That's the change of mind. I said, you know what? Somebody bullshitted me. These Mormons can hit pretty hard. So,
as the 60s came to an end and the 70s dawned upon you, do you feel as if your appearances on the Tim Conway Show, Dick Van Dyke, Sanford and Son, Maude as Henry Evans, all led you to the point in which your role as Gordy, the weatherman, on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, did that put you in a position in which you were working with great actors, wonderful material, Cloris Leachman, Mary Tyler Moore? Did you feel as if it was an actor's heaven in a way, playing with such affable human beings and characters?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which made it even more difficult for me to make a choice when the opportunity came to either continue with Mary Tyler Moore's show with that ensemble that you justifiably described, or to take the opportunity being a co-star on something called Good Times. So a decision I made, obviously in retrospect, was to go ahead and take the opportunity provided by Norman Lear and with the Good Times pilot.
Guys and gals, so one of the most iconic and resonating fathers in TV history, of course, was James Evans Sr. Did you feel as if some of the writers of the show theorized perhaps maybe what some of your reactions would be on, I don't know, maybe they had an LA or a Beverly Hills kind of point of view as writers?
I couldn't have put it more succinctly and more accurately myself. Now, how about that? You nailed it, bro. You nailed it. And that was a bone of contention. Their perception of what his reactions would be predicated on, I don't know what, fantasy for the most part, and mine predicated on the reality of having been that person and having lived that role in reality 24/7. So there it is. And I was fortunate enough to survive a period of not being able to get hired to a period of being regarded as knowledgeable about that particular subject matter. And maybe I wasn't the most diplomatic guy in the world when I came to presenting my arguments about their perception. I mean, you can't continually ask it, well, you want to take it outside. Nobody wants to do that. You know what I mean?
But I applaud you for, in essence,
I'm from Jersey, so forgive me.
There you go. Yeah, I can understand that as well, my friend. Consideration. Following Good Times, let's look at this number. Over 130 million viewers sat glued in front of their TV sets in the most important and influential miniseries of all time, bar none, Roots. Whether it was writers, and by the way, as a teacher, I've said this many times on my shows, I've been handcuffed. I don't teach anymore, but before I became a screenwriter and even during, I was handcuffed by my principal because there's certain things I spoke about, like the Freedom Riders and the Buffalo Soldiers and heroes like Diane Nash, and I'm not allowed to speak about that. And in essence, that's not right because we need to teach our youth of America the real history. But speaking of Roots, whether it was writers or simply living life, you had seen and experienced so many injustices. Do you feel as if playing the role of the older Kinte was the culmination of all of those stereotypical roles that you were privy to, in which it might have seemed like a reward maybe of sorts playing that role? Because, again, you suffered and witnessed so many indignities. Is that correct?
It's more than correct. It's almost, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's a sea change in attitude and in an evaluation of that time period and what it meant to the folks involved. Yeah, it was, it was a moment. It was a decade.
Well, and again, what a role, guys. And I know that a lot of the younger viewers have no idea just how impactful that role was. You spoke about burgers, how funny life can be. After your football days were over, you worked at a McDonald's. You entertained the staff with some jingles when you finished football and songs. And all those years later, you're now cast as the owner of McDowell's, opposite Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. Did you feel as if working with Eddie that you were so locked in because maybe nothing else existed because he gave so much of himself? Is that how you felt when you worked alongside Eddie?
He's a consummate pro. He as the incredible once in a million gift of being able to make a seamless transition from one character to another 100% effortlessly and 100% believably. He is, and the changes are so subtle. Well, he's a master. That was one thing I learned from Carl Reiner. I did a Broadway play once, which he directed, called Tough to Get Help. And he told me, he said, in the rehearsal process, he said, John, you're a big guy. I was heavier, much heavier than thanks to football training. He said, you must show vulnerability. And that's the only advice I give to any actor, regardless of his or her size.
I speak to a lot of the actors as well and just mention how, because I love what you mentioned. We can't relate to people that are one-dimensional because we're multifaceted. We're multi-layered as human beings.
Correct.
It's that moment when we just lower our guard and show people that we're one and the same. That level of vulnerability, in essence, speaks to how well-rounded a performer really is, right?
Amen. Amen. And I've been fortunate enough to have characters offered to me to portray that were vulnerable. I mean, no matter what their station in life or their profession was, they had some vulnerability, and they always, to some degree, they gave me the room to encompass some humanity with the character.
What would you like your legacy to be when it's all said and done, John?
That the greatest gift my mom, who was my greatest initial teacher, gave me, she taught me she gave me the tools for survival, the basic tools for survival. That was believe in yourself, believe in God, and if you have a work ethic, employ it. Thank God for whatever you've got, and don't be jealous or envious of those who seemingly have more. End of story. So she gave me the basic tools I needed to survive, and those tools were sharpened and substantiated by other members of the human race that I was to meet as I went through life. And they came from every walk of life, every ethnicity imaginable. They were all teachers and mentors to me because they had survived. So.
That guy's gonna be missed for a long time by a lot of people.
Very much.
So I remember as a kid watching Good Times and then going to school, and it was the topic of conversation. We were all talking, what JJ was doing, but I just remember too, with my own home experience, me and my stepdad, even when I was little, didn't get along. And I remember wishing that, that guy was my dad. So a lot of humanity, a lot of vulnerability came out in those performances, even if it was a comedy show. I mean, it had that underlying deep current of humanity. And, that was in a time where, unfortunately, folks of color were still being treated as less than in a lot of damn ways. So, very strong man. So, and a great conversation. Don't want to bring people down, man. I don't want to bring people down. This is a night we've all been looking forward to, and the vault has been open, but unfortunately, it's going to close again for a while. But I have a feeling. What do you think, Jay? You think Avi's going to pop it back open down the road?
I think we might see a few more conversations. I think there are a few people here we haven't seen yet who can teach us something. And as Che24 here says, teachers always help. Avi was awesome working in the classroom. What great advice he gave. Thank you.
I'm getting doubly emotional because I think this is one of my former students. I think it is.
Oh.
And if it's who I think it is, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Yeah, best part of teaching is learning.
True.
We learn
teach it.
We learn a ton here, and I don't know if I have anything to say about John because it's too hard to say it now, but I can say that the biggest project that he ever worked on that had the largest viewership was Roots.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when I think of Roots and I think of the word Roots and I associate it with the new network, John's a big part of it. I think people like John Amos laid the foundation for what we do. You don't have to worry about bringing anybody down, Kelly, because I think you and Giselle and our TKN hosts and the luminaries have brought people up. I don't think there's anything at all that comes out of your mouths that doesn't carry a lot of weight. I think it's very difficult for our hosts. I want our engine to know, and I want our luminaries in suits and ties to know the following, that it's tough for our hosts to sometimes know just how much they're affecting you, because what we're doing here is presenting ourselves to the sound of silence. You can hear a pin drop, but we know that you're typing away and you're crying with us and you're laughing with us and you're applauding with us. And whether it's a well-placed barb or an insult that was delivered at the wrong time from Mad Catter, Avi Jabroni, or all of you guys coming here to remind us that Saturday nights can be a place where we learn. I mean, that usually was reserved for a time to play, to see family, to go to restaurants, to go dancing, a little romancing. Saturday nights were not meant to be spent in the classroom. And it just dawned on me, because I don't think I've ever said this in the history of our show. We're sitting down in the classroom with our backpacks on our back, and our writing utensil firmly in our hand, with a sheet of paper in front of us, and we're learning on a Saturday night? Wow.
Yeah.
If you guys want to add to that, feel free. I'm going to process that a bit and listen to the two of you break that piece down, because for 5 years, we've been willing to learn from each other on a Saturday night.
Yeah. And, I think the key is it's a damn good time doing it. I mean, that's the way I feel about it, because these conversations, they're of interest. They bring you in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think a week goes by I don't learn, something that just makes me go, wow, I didn't know that. I mean, Giselle, am I alone in that, or do you experience it?
No. There's always a new person I have to go research, or a little fact about them I hadn't heard before, or an event that I didn't realize was connected to something else. And then I'm trying to find the cause and event and the timeline, and everything is going this way and that way. And the number of tabs that I have open after any TKN Saturday night, you don't want to know.
A great comment here from Miranda. I've never heard this before. I like this. Deep current of humanity. What did you mean by that when you typed it, Miranda?
I think Kelly had mentioned that at some point, and it stuck with me. Deep current of humanity. We always say we're on the right side of humanity here. Well, Avi says that, but we all say it because it's true. There's the other side of humanity that we normally see. People are stressed and always thinking about themselves, not paying attention to others. And I feel like here we're very understanding. We listen, We like to learn, as Giselle said, and we're always positive and moving towards growing, but growing together.
We're growing together, and how about this? There's some competition in the form of Blazers. Now, when it comes down to Joe and Kelly White, if I can have Kelly's a tall guy. If I can have you guys kind of scoot up in your chair a little bit, guys. I want to know. I'm going to give you a solo layup. Who wins the battle of the Blazers tonight? Is it one Kelly J. White? If you could show up your Blazer anyway, you'd like to show it off a little bit. That's a little dapper there, guys. Kelly J. White, I like it. Or is it Joe Risitano? And I'm gonna ask. I want to ask Miranda first. I'm gonna put her on the hot seat over here. We're gonna have a little fun. Time for levity. Miranda, who wins the battle of the Blazers between Joe and Kelly? Break it down. You're TKN host. That's what we do here on the spot. And then our viewers will also as well. Starting with Miranda, who wins the battle of the Blazers?
Well, both of you are looking very, very spiffy, if I do say so myself.
Right.
But I think I might have to go with Kelly because I like the different color scheme. The blazer it looks, well, actually in this color, in this lighting, it looks more like it's half black, half blue, in a way, like a dark blue. And then your shirt is red. So it matches with the background of the TKN as well, which I really like. I always like when Avi has the black and red combo. It's very, very TKN style. I love it.
Awesome.
Miranda, good. Kelly Whitehead. We like what Kelly and Joe bring to the table here, of course.
Yeah.
Dapper men. Giselle, who wins the Battle of the Blazers tonight? The unofficial first ever inaugural Battle of the Blazers. Kelly J. White or Joe Risitano?
Battle of the Blazers! Ooh, in the inaugural Battle of the Blazers! It's going to Kelly J. White. The pitch just a little bit better. I can see it in the shoulders.
I like it. I like the Blazer on Kelly, and I got to tell you something. How about what Joe does with the Blazers consistently every time he shows up here with the black and black combo? Got the hair all slicked back. This is what a celebration's all about. And again, what better way to close the evening than celebrating the life of John Amos? We did so several times. We will do so every calendar year, maybe multiple times. He deserves that. Miranda was on air with him the very last time. Of course, he had a public conversation with anybody. So was Tone Loke. And I know that means a lot to us. Hey, I agree. Rhodesia, the necklace game. Giselle, Miranda, they're kicking it with the necklace game tonight as well. Let's not.
I was just about to say that.
We're not going to do a battle of the necklaces, but look, I'm not going to say and get into reasons why. Some of us have some big weeks coming up in our personal lives, so I wanted to spare a few of you with this, but I'm still going to put them on here. Yeah, look at this. Look at Justin.
Is he awake? Oh, he's awake.
Look at this. He was looking down because he was texting me saying, whatever you do, don't put me near Miranda. You're right near Miranda, and here's why. Because pretty soon you are going to be near Miranda in your 9th and final match. You guys can't escape that. There's nobody else, no place to hide. We've seen the videos. We've seen where this has gone. Now it's going to come down to a good old-fashioned conversation. Now it's going to come on. There is no more, Phil. I'm going to call you that. There are no more. There are no more hijinks. There's no more chicanery that's going to get in the way of you and Miranda virtually here on this screen. Finally, after 3 years, we're going to find out who is meant to advance to the sacred grounds I call round number 3 of this tournament. And if you're not the one, Justin, then you will be banished from TKN per the stipulation. So if you have anything to say right now, go ahead, and then we're going to outro. Go ahead, Justin.
In a nutshell, everybody thinks that I don't get it, that I don't understand the stakes. What is the possibility? I do. Okay? So just lay off that crap. I know what I have to do. I know it's all on the line, this last match. And I know I can do it. Miranda. Going down.
Okay. You know what? Hold on. No. Usually there's a format to this which I want to abandon. Miranda's going to give you a rebuttal, right? That's what you're waiting for. No. This is where, Justin, you don't get what you want. Because I know that somehow that leather jacket and that creepy voice of yours and those sunglasses and whatever the hell it is you do, you get in her head. So what I'm going to do is prevent her from saying a word to you, because I'm sure the words that she say will matter during that fateful Thursday evening when the two of you lock eyes for the first time, because I am going to tell you right now what one of your topics will be. Right now, live, what one of your topics will be.
Whoa. Okay.
Write it down, and I implore you to write it down. This is now the first topic The first topic, it might be the last. It's actually going to be a topic, not the first, second, third, or fourth. I don't know the order yet. But one of your topics on that fateful evening will be the following. Speak well of my opponent and do tell what spell they've held on me. That is your topic. That is going to be one of your topics. Guys and gals and pals, that's then. This is now. Let's shout out some of your comments. Let's once again give it up to Giselle and Kelly White for leading, guys and gals, and hosting as only they can together as a team. That's what we do here. I do want to answer you, Matt Catter, because you got a lot of smart-ass comments over here. You're asking me this? Yeah, I'm going to one-up you. Where's Howard? Okay, even our hosts haven't seen this. Here's where Howard is. Here's where he is. He's waiting for Wednesday. You know why? Trial of Howard Collado hits you this Wednesday night. The Black Box. That's right. We're all going to be there. The trial of Howard Collado. Now, guess what, Howard, if you're listening? You're not getting more than 10 minutes of our time because we got the tournament of the judges this Wednesday. We got Sebastian. We got Julio. We got David. They want to grab that last spot. But some of us have something to say to you, Howard. April the 22nd, this Wednesday, we're all going to be there in attendance. Part of the Black Box will be the trial of Howard Collado. And I guarantee you, for those that remember, it ain't going to be like yesteryear. It ain't going to be like that original trial. It's going to be brief. And for the sake of brevity, we are going to make our points. And we will find out whether or not Howard Collado, guys and gals and pals, will become persona non grata when it comes to the new network this Wednesday night. How about that, hosts?
Wow.
Wowza.
That,
Wowza.
yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's very interesting.
Somebody would say.
I think that's what we call a deal.
There he is. No mystery there, Howard. Guys and gals and pals, there's a lot coming up this Wednesday, but of course, there's also a lot coming up next Saturday. The final conversation, the final topic of the conversation that we aired last week. Brian Austin Green, Redman, Nicole Eggert. Will there be a special second rounder in that match? Because remember, the backdrop was Greece. That was a second round match, not an 11th hour match. And since we hadn't seen those three luminaries before, is there a second rounder kind of creep in there? We'll find out how that's going to go. But as far as we know now, 2 out of 3 move on. As far as we know now, 2 of those greats will move on to round number 3, the celebrity tournament. So with that, if we could all, since it's been the theme of the night, drum roll it away now. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, because it's outro time.
Obsession's going to be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
I got about a yard off of him. I can tell you what he had for breakfast. Coach was a red hickey. Just goddamn Williamson, get back. He's going to make you look stupid. I said, shut up and hike the ball. So they hiked the ball at RC. He made one move to me. I did that to him, and I knocked him out. Coach Fritz, he runs over and says, God damn it, what you doing, Williamson? I said, I covered him.
And I also understood that people make more money off of me than me. Something is wrong with that picture. So when I came into the motion picture business, I had a whole plan, I had a whole concept about marketability. If you understand my football career, you understand that I understood marketability.
I got involved in their lives because of her suffering that they went through, not having a father around. But it has brought to me and to them a great joy, because I can be part of their lives.
The Wonder Years comes, and Joanna Kearns reads about it. We were still going out. And she says, are you going to audition for Neil's show? I said, my agent said they can't get me in. And Joanna said, call him. Neil loves you. And I said, I can't do that, so unprofessional. And she went, oh, don't be ridiculous.
Live life
Moderately, be very consistent. Don't overindulge anything. Like, for example, don't overindulge like in food, excessive alcohol, drugs, stuff like that, because that keeps you focused, because you have to connect the mind with the body, because especially what I mainly want to stress on, you have to overcome that fear factor. You have to embrace that fear factor, because when you have a destiny in life, what you choose to do, you have to take risks. Be very consistent. I try to exercise 4 or 5 days a week, because I watch what I eat. I do everything in moderation, different things like, like sometimes people take too many vitamins, too many supplements, too many aspirin. I mean, they're very simple like that. It's all about listening to your body.
WNEW FM, they had an all-woman radio idea, only I was the only woman who'd ever been on radio.
Right.
And like most suits, they chose women because they had great boobs or they were pretty. It's always been the case.
I wasn't smart like Oprah. I didn't, at the very beginning, tell them I wanted to own it. That's my stupidity, and it was stupid because I had to do what they called me in and told me to do.
Well, but the thing is, you notice our media didn't want. They ended Larry's life at CNN. They gave him all the accolades right up to 5 years before he died, and there wasn't about him spending 5 years at RT America.
The most traumatic, believe it or not, was my first return to the United States, because I had been overseas 9 months, and I came back to my own country, and I wasn't an adult. I couldn't vote yet.
We know what's coming. We know what's coming. You know what's coming. Nonetheless, the excitement's here. This Wednesday night is jam-packed, guys. Coming down to the wire. Who's climbing higher? The situation is quite dire. I'm no liar. Close this show any way they like. Full circle. What's old is gold.
Wow. that was a night. That was a night. And I know Avi had more planned, but you know, these things are special, I think, for a reason. I mean, what made it special for you, Giselle?
Knowing how many people have crossed through these doors, and this is even only a fraction of those in the vault. But seeing how long they've been with us, 2021, 2022, and we saw many of their first conversations, but we know they've had more and more and more stretching out over the years.
Yeah.
So seeing where they came from, seeing where we came from, seeing how long they've been here, and the fact that they want to still be here, that says a lot. And that's really special.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
All of that. That's and you know, the fact that everybody out here, you know, I saw a lot of familiar names for me that stopped in tonight, and I love that. I saw those old familiar faces that we see each and every week, the tried and true engine. That makes it special too, you know, because yeah, we didn't have a live match, but you know, everybody showed up because of how special these things are. I mean, it really is. These really are treasures from the vault.
They are.
But you know, I guess as slowly as that big old door opens, it's gently closed for a while, and I'm sure we'll do it again, though.
I think so.
So I guess, folks, until next time, we're going to let you have your evening, and we'll see you here down the road Wednesday, Saturday. But always look out for when the vault opens again.